28 days? That is how long Alison Chawke remained inside prison after a judge ordered her to serve 1 year for taking part in what the court described as an unprovoked and ferocious assault. She did not win an appeal. Her conviction was not overturned. But on Tuesday, the 11th of August, she walked out of Limerick Prison under a supervised early release program. Her brother, who was jailed over the same attack, remained behind bars. Now, people across Ireland are asking one question. How did a 1-year prison term become just 4 weeks? The case began during a night out at the Dunraven Arms Hotel in Adare, County Limerick. It was the 9th of November 2023. Alison Chawke was at the hotel with her younger brother, Bill Chawke. Alison was 41 years old when she was sentenced. Bill was 31. The siblings are the children of Charlie Chawke, a prominent Irish publican whose family is connected to several well-known pubs. But that night, the family name would become connected to something completely different. According to evidence heard in court, Alison and Bill had consumed around 15 alcoholic drinks between them before arriving at the hotel's residence bar. It was after midnight and Bill wanted food. Hotel staff told him that food was no longer available, but according to the court evidence, Bill continued confronting the workers. One of the hotel guests, Gerard Cox, asked Bill to leave the staff alone. It was a simple request. But it became the moment everything changed. Bill approached Gerard and exchanged words with him. Alison then began taking photographs of Gerard and his friend, John Mayhew, on her phone. The two men had been enjoying their night at the hotel. The court found that they had done nothing to provoke what happened next. Closed-circuit television cameras recorded the confrontation as it moved from the bar into the hotel's reception area. Bill lunged at the men and began hitting them. Alison initially tried to calm her brother, but instead of walking away, she became involved in the attack. The court heard that Alison threw a pint glass toward the men. When John Mayhew was taken to the floor, Alison bent down and bit him on the side of his face. She also hit him in the side of the head. The attack continued through the hotel lobby as staff and other people tried to understand what was happening. Gerard Cox later told the guards that he felt someone gouging at his eyes. He suffered bruising, swelling and pain around his face. John Mayhew suffered injuries to his face, neck and shoulders. But the damage did not end when the physical injuries began to heal. The court heard that both men continued to experience psychological trauma following the attack. Neither Gerard nor John had started the confrontation. They had been staying at a hotel and expected to return home safely. Instead, they became the victims of an assault that Judge Fiona O'Sullivan said had an element of ferocity. When the guards arrived, Bill provided his details and left the area. Alice initially refused to identify herself. The court heard that she was concerned about her father discovering what had happened. She was held in a guarded cell overnight. Both siblings were eventually charged with assault causing harm. As their trial approached, Alison and Bill pleaded guilty. That meant there was no dispute about their involvement in the attack. During sentencing, their lawyers pointed to their guilty pleas, their previous good character, and the fact that neither sibling had a previous conviction. Alison admitted to the guards that her behavior had not been justified. But the judge also had to consider the seriousness of the assault, the fact that it was unprovoked, and the lasting effect it had on the two victims. On the 14th of July 2026, Bill Chawke received a sentence of 2 years and 6 months. The final 12 months were suspended, leaving him with 18 months in custody. Alison received a sentence of 2 years and 2 months. The final 14 months was suspended, leaving her with a 1-year custodial term. The judge found that Bill had been the main instigator, but she also found that Alison had willingly joined what became a sustained and vicious assault. As the sentences were announced, Alison appeared shocked. According to reporters inside the courtroom, she turned toward a supporter and silently asked whether she was going to prison. The answer was yes. She was taken into custody and sent to the women's section of Limerick Prison. At that moment, the case appeared to have reached its conclusion. Two people had admitted assaulting two innocent men. A judge had examined the evidence, watched the hotel recordings, and ordered both attackers to spend time behind bars. But 28 days later, the story changed completely. On Tuesday, the 11th of August, Alison Chawke was released. She had served 4 weeks of the 1-year custodial part of her sentence. Her release was reportedly approved to Ireland's community return scheme. This is not the same as having a conviction cancelled. It is a supervised program that allows qualifying prisoners to leave custody early in exchange for completing unpaid work in the community. Prisoners must be assessed and approved before they can enter the program. They must also follow the conditions attached to their temporary release. The program is intended to support rehabilitation, help prisoners return to society, and reduce pressure inside overcrowded prisons. And Limerick Women's Prison was under severe pressure. When Alison was released, the women's prison had space for 56 people. But 89 prisoners were being held there. 7 women were reportedly sleeping on mattresses placed on cell floors. The facility was operating at around 59% of its official capacity. That provides important context. But it does not completely answer the question surrounding Alison's release. The Irish Prison Service confirmed how the community return scheme operates, but said it does not discuss individual prisoners. That means the public has not been told the complete reasoning behind the decision to approve Alison after only 28 days. There's no verified evidence that her family's wealth or influence caused the decision, but the speed of the release has created a political argument about fairness, punishment, and privilege. Matt Carthy, Sinn Féin's justice spokesman, said the case raised serious questions. He asked why a woman from a wealthy background convicted of a violent offense involving a kick to someone's head had been released after serving such a small part of her custodial term. But Gary Gannon, the Social Democrats' justice spokesman, defended the decision. He argued that short prison sentences do not work and said he supported rehabilitation, particularly when the prisoner is a mother. These are two completely different views of the same decision. One side sees a supervised program designed to reduce overcrowding and prevent future offending. The other sees a court sentence that lost nearly all of its meaning after only 4 weeks. And caught between those two positions are the victims. Gerard Cox and John McHugh were told by a judge that the attack against them was unprovoked. They were told that the court recognized the physical and psychological harm they experienced. But one of the people convicted of attacking them was released after 28 days. Alison Chawke is not simply free from every condition. She remains subject to the community return scheme and must complete supervised unpaid work. Her suspended sentence also requires her to keep the peace and avoid further criminal offending. But the central question remains unanswered. Why was she selected for release so quickly? Was it entirely because she had no previous convictions, pleaded guilty, and qualified for a rehabilitation program? Was prison overcrowding the deciding factor? And if overcrowding means that violent offenders cannot serve the custodial terms imposed by judges, what does that mean for victims who were promised justice? The attack inside the Dunraven Arms Hotel lasted only a short time. Its consequences have continued for almost 3 years. First came the injuries, then the guilty pleas, then the prison sentences. And finally, after only 28 days, a decision that has placed the entire Irish prison system under examination. So, active investigators, where do you stand? Was supervised community release the correct response for a first-time offender? Or should someone convicted of a violent, unprovoked assault serve the prison term ordered by the court?